Hi, my name is Maria Paula Cuellar Sandoval, and this video is the second part of One Child Policy. I'm going to tell you the story of Nam Phu Wang and other people who live this policy, and also I want to show you some of the consequences of this policy and how it affects a lot of people around the world. So first, who is Nam Phu Wang? She is a filmmaker who born in China in 1985, 6 years after China launched its one-child policy. So she grew up seeing all the propaganda of this policy. It's important to remember that in the first video I talked about that and about the plaques that the government hung on the front doors. It's important because her family always missed the start to indicate that the family had no more than one child. In rural areas, it was legal to have two children, so Nam Phu has one little brother who is 5 years apart of she. When she started to grow up, she was sent to middle school in the city because her village only had an elementary school. In the city, most of the children came from one-child families, so when they found out that she had a little brother, they began to reject her and they treat her as if her family had done something wrong by having a second child. It was somewhat difficult for her at that time. And around her mom's second pregnancy, there was a lot of pressure because when her mom was pregnant, ultrasound gender tests were not allowed. So her grandma put a bamboo basket in the living room and said, "If it's another girl, we will put her in the basket and leave her in the street." So when her brother was born, was a relief for all the family. After that, her mom had to be sterilized. In 2017, Nam Phu became a mother and she understood how difficult and traumatic it was to become a parent at that time. For that, she decided to make the documentary One Child Nation to show us all the consequences that this policy had, like leave baby girls in the street. You can see it on Amazon Prime Video if you want. Another testimony was from local midwife Juana Yuan, who delivered all the babies in the village. The village was Jiangxi province and also did a lot of sterilizations and abortions between 50,000 and 60,000. She feels guilty because she killed babies. Many of them she induced life and killed it. At the same time, she said that she had no choice because it was the government's policy and they didn't make decisions, they only execute orders. She was part of the medical team who was organized on the country level. For 20 years, they traveled around to do sterilization and abortion. She practiced 20 sterilizations a day and says that the government officials were abused women and treat them like animals. They drag them to the midwife to be sterilized. Nowadays, Juana doesn't do delivers, abductions, abortions, or sterilization. She only treats patients with infertility as a way to repay all the damage that she did in the past. The first consequence were the baby girls that were left on the street. A lot of them died because no one wanted to have a baby girl. And the growth of human traffic because there were organizations that sold these babies to orphanages, who in turn gave them in adoption, mostly to foreigners. Nowadays, there are many American families with Chinese children, and China is seeing the consequence because there are no young people who take care of the elderly.